We often forget that we are actually our most important asset. Simply because we have the ideas, we have the vision, we have the God-given calling that it's bringing us into. And when we don't look after us, we can't steward anything further forwards.
Welcome to the Couplepreneur Life podcast. It's great to have you here again.
Yes.
All right. You know, our health is extremely important, to our success, not only the success of our businesses, but the success of our families and just having a successful life.
Yes.
Altogether. Well, we have health and performance expert, Mr. Justin Roethlingshoefer.
Good job.
Did I get it? Did I get it out there?
You did.
A cool name here and a cool guy. And let's just get him on board here and let's get at it. All right, Justin Roethlingshoefer is in the house.
You did it.
I did it. I said your name,
I was just
man.
about to say, well done.
I've been practicing, I just love this guy. But he has he's a hockey player, NHL, coach, trainer, all that kind of stuff as well. And, he's our health performance expert. But he has a true hockey name, Roethlingshoefer. One of those long, those long Canadian names, whatever. And so I've been having, my redneck tongue has been having trouble.
But you did it.
I've been practicing in front of the mirror and everything. So how'd it come across, man?
Amazing. You nailed it. I always say that I was the smartest kid in kindergarten and everything just went downhill from there.
Because you can spell your last name.
Right.
That's right.
I love it. It's a cool name, man.
Yeah.
Well, good. Hey, Justin, it's so good to have you on the podcast here, and been looking forward to it. And just, thanks for taking the time, and looking forward to diving in this very important topic of health and what it means to our performance, in our business and our lives and all those kinds of things. And it's a very complex thing, as we're talking about. There's so much here. But, when I love what you've done, and I'm kind of stumbling on my words here, because I love how you've taken a complex concept, which I'm all about, and simplifying it down to the HRV, this HRV number, which I hope we can touch on in sometime here as well. So I'm just going to open up to you,
Yeah. What's the state of health, I guess, is the main thing. Gone are the days of, Jane Fonda and what was it? What did she always say? Something about burns, something hurts. I don't remember what it was, but all of that, right? And you thought you were healthy just because you did those types of things.
As a young man, I never listened to what Jane Fonda had to say. I just watched. I have to admit.
All right, moving on. So, Justin, what is the state of health as you see it today?
It's such a great question. And to be honest with you, as entrepreneurs and business owners, we often forget that we are actually our most important asset, simply because we have the ideas, we have the vision, we have the God-given calling that it's bringing us into. And when we don't look after us, we can't steward anything further forwards. And there's this meme out there, and I talk about this often, and it is this grown person. In this particular meme, it was a man. It was a grown man and this young boy, and you see the older man giving a piece of himself to the younger boy, a puzzle piece that completed his puzzle, that completed the young boy's puzzle. But the man had like half or 3/4 of his body gone because it's showing like he had given it to him. And it said the most selfless man around. And I went, that's actually the most selfish person around. And
that's
the
good.
reason is because that man right there probably has unbelievable amount of gifts, but he's actually going to fall short of being able to give it to somebody else because he won't have anything left. And the biggest thing that we have to come back to is our health, because health is the ultimate form of wealth, while time is the asset. And unfortunately, as entrepreneurs, we do not concentrate on our health until it impacts our asset, until we start losing time, either in chronic illness where we're in the hospital and now we're out, or we've got, on a smaller scale, a cold or a flu where we have to miss 2 or 3 days. And you know what that feels like. Now imagine being able to operate at 80, 90, 100%. the majority of the time? How much more impact could you make? How much greater of a difference could you create in this world, but also in your family? And so for me, I see just this massive disintegration of our health in this world. And I firmly believe, because the reason that we're seeing that is because we live in a disintegrated space. We've taken true health, which is mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and tried to segment it. We've disintegrated it together. And that's not how our bodies were built. We were built with an order. Like God built the world with an order. He built things in a specific sequence, but yet we don't handle our bodies that way. And we just think that we can continue to go, and that our bodies will never start to disintegrate or deteriorate. And that's what we're starting to see. And so the state of the world in terms of overall health and holistic true health is quite poor. And I know I talked about this at Couplepreneur Con, and kind of gave this framework, but it's something that people should really start to think about. It's what I call the fake health continuum. On the left side, you've got fake health. On the right side, you've got true health, like fully integrated health. And then in the middle, you've got fake health, which is disease-free, but symptom-full. And that's where we all live.
So example, with the fake health and, disease-free, but symptom-full. What's an example in our daily lives?
Anxiety, depression, weight gain, can't sleep, fatigue, nausea, bloating, chronic headaches, body aches, you name it. All of these things that everyone's like, brain fog. They're going, I have all these. Like this is something that I'm in. That's why 90% of our society lives in this fake health space where they don't have disease yet, but ultimately they're slowly shifting over into the left side of that spectrum, which is disease and death. And unfortunately, I talked about this too. There is Ed Milet talks about the power of one more. We always want to give one more, do one more, show up one more time. But what happens if your power of one more, your one more opportunity comes 20 years too soon, simply because you stayed too long in this fake health space? And the longer we stay there, the window closes to go from prevention, like preventable maintenance, to treatment. And the faster that we can dial that in, the faster we can get a full understanding of what's going on with our body, the better off you are, not only for you and your family, but for those that you're serving as well.
Sure. And part of it too, people think, well, it's just age, right? I'm getting older. And so this is just how it is. I've hit my 30s or 40s or whatever, and it's all downhill from there. And it doesn't have to be, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be where you feel like life is over at 50.
We've been taught that fake health, or this area of fake health, these symptoms that we experience, that's what it takes to be a spouse. That's what it takes to be in a committed relationship. I guess that's what it takes to be 50 years old. I guess that's what it takes to be a business owner. I guess what that takes to be a parent. And those are lies. They're lies that we've been fed simply because we've been okay with mediocre. We've been okay just getting by. But we were created to be excellent. We were created in the image of our Creator, which is literally perfect. That's not saying we have to be perfect.
Correct.
But it's saying that our standard of how we show up and how we function is of excellence. Is of champion. And that's a mindset. That's how you show up. And so that there's certain things in your business that you just wouldn't accept. But yet for some reason, you accept that from your body. You accept that from your physical, mental, spiritual, or emotional health. And that's okay. And so when we kind of bring this back around, the concept of health exists within our souls. Like we are souls having a human experience. That's it.
I love that.
Souls having a human experience.
Yes.
And our soul is made up of 4 entities: your heart, your mind, your body, and your environment. Now, your heart, I go back to this state of excellence, right? Your heart is all about your desires. Like, what do you desire most deeply? Not your goals, tell this story all the time, is I had a guy come and we were having a conversation. I said, what's your goal? He goes, I want to lose 30 pounds. I said, okay, cool. But what's on the other side of that 30 pounds that isn't available to you right now?
Right on. I just had a conversation with one of our clients. The same, I'm sorry to cut in, but go. Yep. The same
thing.
And I literally saw his eyes well up with tears. And he goes, I want my kid to see me as like a real life superhero.
Right.
Wow.
I want him to be proud of me. Guy's a billionaire. He's got all the things he could ever want in the world, all the vacations, all the cars, all the houses, everything. But that one thing, I want my kid to see me as a real life superhero. And that is the true desire. That's the desire of your heart.
Yes.
Your heart then institutes your mind. So that's your thoughts and beliefs. So for this individual, his thoughts and beliefs before were, the routines I'm doing are fine. I don't necessarily have to do this because I'm not going to get to where I need to be, which is why he's never been able to lose the 30 pounds. Never been able to truly get to the deepest level of that desire. So his heart ultimately set up his thoughts and beliefs, which were of mediocrity. His mind then went into his body, and his body ends up finding it in your behaviors and your habits. And so his behaviors and habits that he would exhibit on a day-to-day basis were aligned with his mindset and the way that he thought, which was also then aligned with his heart space, which is, I just need to lose the 30 pounds and I'll do it at some point in time.
Right.
Which led lastly to his environment. So what he created around him, where he stopped for food, what he had in his house, the way that his wife communicated with him, the way that his children communicated with him, the things that he listened to on the radio. And all of these four components created his soul, which he was experiencing through his human reality. And his reality was unhealthy. He was not happy with it. It was not uplifting. It was not positive for him. But when we went back and we reestablished a true desire, we got that desire in alignment of where he needed to be. It changed his thoughts, the way that he was thinking. It got his body, his habits and behaviors in alignment. And all of a sudden, his environment began to change. And lo and behold, this last Halloween, I get a picture of this guy dressed up as Batman and going out trick-or-treating with his son, looking all kinds of jacked, lost 60 pounds, not 30, lost 60 pounds, not 30.
All right, dude. Yeah.
And this brings tears to my eyes, is his son, when he had, when he got dressed up and walked out, he surprised him, walked out, he goes, wow, Dad, you're like a real life superhero. And that's that full circle moment. And so I come back to that, is that health is not one dimensional. It can't be disintegrated, because when it's disintegrated, our health disintegrates. Everything has to be in alignment. Everything has to be together. Everything has to be thought of together. And mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, our body doesn't know the differences between our levels of stress. And that number HRV, that's what you're talking about, Richard, is that number that we can bring it back to help hold us accountable to what's happening and giving us a new purview, a new understanding of our body, this vessel that ultimately is exhibiting everything that we are ultimately wanting ever in this world.
That's awesome. And one thing, this is maybe the same, people will say, I got to work out because I got to be healthy or whatever. There's no why behind it, right? It's just, this is what I need to do. For me, it's always, because we don't like working out. We work out almost every day. We don't like it. We don't want to go do it.
At 60, the body every morning says, stay in bed.
Stay in bed. You're not getting up. But one of the reasons that I do it is because I know how I want to look in a pair of jeans. Right? I know that how I want to look for my husband. So it's not that I'm all, I just got to do it because I got to do it. The why behind it is I want to look and feel better. And if I don't work out, if I don't watch what I eat, then I know I'm not going to. So it's not just a matter of I need to do these things to check them off. Why are you doing it? What is the mindset behind it, right?
And that is so powerful, Justin. I love that point of, because that's what, at my age, why I work out. I'm never going to, no, I shouldn't say I should never, but there is a reality. I realize that this is a clay jar.
Jars of clay.
And I'm not, I'm not going to be young forever. This body is going to die. But I love your point of we were created to be excellent. I mean, we were created in God's image. And we say, as we close up the podcast, you were purposely and wonderfully created, And so in my mind, I don't work out just to stay healthy, because that's not enough. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care to be healthy. I work out because I still want my girl to look my way, instead of the younger guys at the gym we work out, And so today we shared in the green room where that today I was doing some pull-ups, and I was feeling good. I was ripping them out, in perfect form. And I turned around and there was my wife, this beautiful blonde, smiling at me, and it's like, all right, I got the attention. That's why I work out, which then does lead to my mindset and everything else that you mentioned. That makes so much sense.
It's amazing what you kind of bring into the purview, because, and for all your listeners out there, I want to make this known, is society has just made it, we're just doing it for health. Right. Health is not enough. It's not enough. And at the end of the day, we've become soft in this overall mentality. Why? Because we haven't dove into the true desire of what's here. We haven't driven into the true desire of what people want. And because of that, we've just masked it with a whole bunch of things that you can do. You can go get your sauna, you can go get your red light, you can go get your DNA tested, you can go get your cellular blood testing, you can go get a meal plan, you can go get a trainer, all of these things. We've thrown spot treatments at it.
Right.
But yet we haven't created the whole thing. We haven't figured out that health is integrated. Health is more than that. And it starts with knowing why you're doing it. Because guess what? I don't want to get up and work out every day either. And quite frankly, there's a lot of times I hate it. Yeah. Like it's a grind.
It's hard.
Would love nothing more than just to stay in my bed.
Right.
But I also know that that's not what I was called for.
Yes.
I also know that I was called to be great. I was called to impact the world in a major way. And just staying in my bed is not going to steward my vessel in the way that it needs to in order to prepare it to do what God's calling me to do.
Exactly.
Justin, that is so, and it is so key. We joke a little bit here. We're older. And we live in a nice community here in Southwest Florida. And in Southwest Florida, there's older people like us in this community. And older.
We're actually one of the younger ones.
But we don't. And there's a very nice gym where we live. I mean, it has it's a nice place, so it has all the real nice equipment and everything there. But we couldn't work out there because and this is going to sound bad, but it's like everyone's just waiting to die.
Right.
Yeah. They're working. They're going to the gym just because they're told I'm supposed to keep moving.
Right.
But there's this attitude of I still have a lot of life left, and I can make an impact.
Right.
And so we work out consequently at a young place where the music is thumping and there's young dudes but that drives us, right?
Mindset.
Right. And I like getting attention from the young guys. I'm now kind of a little bit of a mascot or something. I'm the old dude that's there working out. But it's I'm so sad because I see it and we talk with our age group and some friends and all, that we've been kind of conditioned too, that this idea of being fit and taking care of yourself is almost a pride issue.
Selfish.
And that you're getting old, so what you do, by the time you are 60, you should have the belly, and it's just how it is.
It's just how it is, right.
And things start breaking down and it's just how it is.
It's that lie that we've been taught of just our world pulling us into the state of mediocrity. And it says in the Bible, do not conform to the habits of the world. But yet that's what we've done. And everything that I operate in our business and our company is biblical in nature, because the Bible is the truth to me. And
it's the blueprint.
When you dive into this and you go deep into what has been said, we have been promised abundance. We have been promised everything we could ever want. We have been promised to be creators in this world. But guess what? That's only available to you through true obedience. And we've been told to live at a level of excellence, but yet the excellence is hard. And we've chosen not to do it in a lot of ways. So yet we can't realize the promises that are literally waiting there for us. And so I want to tell this story because I think it'll bring a lot of context and it's going to challenge a lot of people. Is we all know what it's like when we have this vehicle. We've got this beautiful vehicle. It's nice and clean. It's amazing. And then we have a kid. And we got the car seat in there,
the French fries down in the cushions.
Exactly, the French fries in the cushions, the clothes all over the place, the diapers that are in the back of the seat. And so in case there's an emergency, you've got sticky hands all over the windows. And then you pull up to like the restaurant and you're with friends this one night, finally a night without the kids. And your buddy says to you, "Hey, Richard, can you give me a ride home?" And you're kind of like, like, I can, but give me 10 minutes.
Yes.
Give me 10 minutes. Kind of throw some stuff around. Our bodies carry the body of Christ. Our bodies carry our God-given mission. And how many of our bodies are in worse condition than that vehicle? And that is why we don't realize our potential. That is why we feel unfulfilled. That is why we feel like we're not getting as far as we want to get to. That's why in a spousal business partnership, we're always at odds with one another because we are in misalignment with how we were designed, with how we were built, with what we are meant to be doing. And all of a sudden, when you get your health, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, back in alignment and acting with your heart, your mind, your body, and your environment in a cohesive, aligned way, in an integrated way, it's amazing how everything else starts to fall into line as well. And you start to realize miracles that you didn't even understand before. Why? Because you are now accepting the promises that were always around and always available to you. But excellence had to happen. Excellence had to start. You had to take the action to become excellent. And I'm not just talking about going to the gym, guys and women out there. I'm talking about how you're thinking, how you're operating from a self-care standpoint. Do you have a meditation and prayer practice? What do you eat? What do you supplement with? How do you hydrate? How do you sleep at night? Do you stay up sending emails until 1 a.m. in the morning and then are dragging yourself out of bed at 6 a.m. because that's what you were told to do and you can't figure out why you can't get mentally clear throughout the day? All of these levels of alignment have to be in place, and we'll touch on HRV and the 8 controllables in a second. But all these things have to be in alignment in order for you to realize the promises that are waiting there for you.
That's so good. And what is it about us as humans where we know these things, right? We know that we should be healthy. We know that we should do these things, but we, for whatever reason, we don't go after it, or do we just get complacent? Is it laziness? You know, what is it that causes us to not go after those things?
I'm honestly, I think it's confusion. It's confusion as to another story. I'm not going to tell the punchline yet.
Okay.
We know where we want to go. We know what we want our business to look like. We know what we want our bodies to look like. We know what our house wants to look like. How many people have gone and done these visioning exercises where they go to a course for a weekend and where do you see yourself in a year? Where do you see yourself in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Get specific, see it all. How many kids, what kind of car, how many vacations, all this stuff. You get super clear on that, but we never figure out where we are today. And because we can't get real with where we are today, we don't know if we need to go left or right or straight or turn left or right. And we continue to stay lost by just grabbing at random things. I give the analogy. I went back to West Edmonton Mall back in Edmonton. It's a 29 phase mall. It's like 450,000 square feet. It's huge.
Oh my.
The Galaxyland water park, hockey rink, all a golf course.
Wow.
50 stores all inside. Like, it's ridiculous. You could live there. And I went back for the first time in like 16 years. I parked at D3, big green sign outside of the water park. I went in 2.5 hours inside. I was trying to leave. I was like, man, I don't know how to get to my car. I can't find it. Like, I know where it is, D3 outside the water park.
But where's D3?
Found this map. What was the most important thing that I looked at on that map?
The little red dot.
The red dot that says you are here. Because I knew then I had to walk straight 50 yards. I needed to take a right, and there was my car. And that's the same thing with our lives. And that's what still holds us back, is we don't know where we are. We don't want to go to these places. We don't want to say, you know what? I've gone so off course. But instead, the world, going back to the worldly habits, what does it do? It just says, oh no, just throw a meal plan at that. No, just throw dark out shades at that. That'll give you a better sleep. No, just
some pills.
throw this supplement at it. That'll fix it. And because we just are throwing things at it, we stay in this tornado, we stay in this whirlwind that never gets us closer to this goal and vision that we have in mind and that desire that we have, because we still don't know where we are. And we haven't been able to get real with that.
And you get frustrated, right? So you're like, okay, well, I tried this diet plan, I tried these diet pills, I tried keto, and so nothing works for me. It can't happen for me, right? And you end up giving up. Yep.
And that confusion that we get kept in, and this is why I truly believe that whenever you are on mission, any business owner is on mission. They've been called to something.
Yes, you're serving
Anytime
someone.
You're on mission, you're called to something. There's going to be two things that are attacked: your health and your relationships first.
Always.
That is so true.
And when we are leaning in that direction and we are going, what the devil wants to do, the evil one, he shows up in confusion. That's how he keeps you here. If you're in confusion and you're spinning, there's no way you can be able to keep going on this mission that you're on, the pace that you want to go. And so the more that we stay confused, exactly to your point, Laura, we get so frustrated. We feel hopeless, and it slows us down. So we have to take ourselves, and the more competent, and this will kind of drive us into HRV and the controllables, I think, but when we can get more competent about our vessel, understand it, competence leads to clarity. I know exactly what to do. This is just like on that sign. This is where I am. I need to go right, and I need to go straight 50 yards and to the right. Boom, done. Competence leads to clarity. Clarity leads to confidence. Confidence leads to consistency. And consistency leads to the change that we want.
Right, so true.
That's so good.
Yeah.
All right.
Hack that.
Yeah, we will. All right, well, let's talk about HRV. For one, what does it stand for?
Yes.
What is it? All the things. Give us all the things.
HRV, best definition I've come up with is it is the language of your body, and it's communicating to us how your body is adapting to mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional stress.
Okay.
And so first thing we have to understand about stress is it's not a light switch. You can't turn it on and turn it off. It's a dimmer switch. It's on a spectrum. Everything is stressful. This conversation, you guys hosting the podcast, is stressful. You guys trying to figure out what you're going to have for dinner is stressful. You guys going out on the boat this weekend and hanging out, having a couple beverages, having a blast is stressful. You guys going and working out is stressful. These are all forms of stress on our body. Even though we don't comprehend it as stress, our body has to have certain processes happen to continue to keep us alive. So just sitting here breathing, watching Friends for the 97th time on TV is stressful because we have to breathe. We have to process information. All of this is stress our body has to work through. The only difference is if we're in better shape, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, it will be lower on the spectrum. The dial will be turned down. Thus, we will be able to take on more stress in other areas of our life. And what HRV does is it compiles all of that stress together and helps us know daily where we are by a single number. Am I adapting positively to the stress that I've engaged in the last 24 hours? Or am I not adapting to that stress? And thus today, I need to maybe shift some of my behaviors a little bit.
Okay. And so how do you measure that? How do you measure your HRV?
I love it. So literally, the funny thing is everybody is having this measured if you're wearing a wearable device. Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, Polar, Whoop, Aura, you name it.
I just don't happen to have mine on, my Aura.
I know, we took your Aura off. Yes. Okay. So that's how you measure it.
It's charging. It died on me. It's charging.
I love it. And so what we're actually, so anybody has it, anybody's measuring it. But what the companies have done, again, because it leads to confusion, is they've just put it into an algorithm that spit out a readiness score or a recovery score or close the circle on the Apple Watch. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And if we can come back, and this is to your listeners, this is the one metric I truly, like, having looked at this, done doctoral work on all this, if you can get super clear and understand this one metric and what it means for your body, it will change how you show up, change your consistency, change your clarity, change your competence, and get you the changes that you really want. Because this one metric is literally your body communicating to you. How well have I adapted to the last 24 to 48 hours of stress that I've been under? And as a kind of like a rule of thumb, if you've got a lower HRV score, you cannot compare your HRV score to anybody else. So Laura, don't compare it to Richard, because you guys are going to be frustrated and bickering. I know Elise, being super competitive, she always is comparing it.
So you know my wife then, okay?
But you have to, we're basically married to the same person.
I know.
So you have to focus on you. It's you versus you every single day, which is also another reason why I love it, because that's how we live. And so if you look at your number, the trend line over the course of a week, a month, a year, it should always be going up. But just like the stock market, you'll see it go up, you'll see it go down, you'll see it go up, you'll see it go down. But the overall trend line should be in a positive direction, meaning you're growing resiliency, you're growing capacity to handle more stress, either mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Now, there's 8 areas that I talk about in your life that are going to impact how HRV is ultimately showing up for you, and where the stressors are going to come from, and what will really move the needle. It's going to be sleep, nutrition, exercise, hydration, environment, mindset, self-care, and immune function. And so those 8 controllables, you're going to find different habits that work for you, because an exercise routine that works for Richard may not work for me. A nutritional routine that works for me may not work for Richard. A self-care routine of breath work for me, 30 minutes a day, and I usually break it up into 2 15-minute segments, and I do them in the middle of my day, not in the morning, may not work for somebody else. And they may actually notice that they feel more relaxed, more at ease, more at peace by doing it right before they go to bed. And that's okay. But it's these habits and being conscious of which ones are impacting you positively and which ones are more negative for you. I guarantee you, look at your HRV, go have a couple beverages one day, have some alcohol intake, and tell me what your HRV score does the next day. Stay up sending emails or doing work 5 minutes before you go to bed, and take a look at what your HRV score does and tell me what it did the next day, versus having a wind down routine of about 2 or 3 hours before, where you stop eating before, you kind of shut the work down, you kind of start connecting with your spouse again, you give yourself some true relationship time, and tell me what that does to your HRV. All of a sudden, you're going to start to notice that the habits and behaviors that you've been experiencing and engaging in day in and day out are actually the barriers that are holding you back from realizing the promises that have been waiting for you on the other side.
Wow. So the HRV, let me just clarify the HRV, because Richard's got an Aura watch or ring, right? And it's the readiness score. Is that the same thing? That's your HRV, right?
So that readiness score is Aura's algorithm.
Okay.
So that, to be honest with you, I'd throw it out the window.
Okay.
What you do is you look right at the raw HRV score, and every single one of these devices has your raw number that you can look at. And that's what I really challenge people to just put 100% of their focus on is HRV. Forget about the readiness scores, forget about the strain scores, forget about the recovery scores, forget about all of the sleep scores. All you want to look at is HRV.
I'm loving this, well, because
I know, but I want to know. Okay, so within, because I haven't dug into your aura ring. HRV is somewhere within that. It's just they put the big readiness score right at the top, right? But the HRV number is somewhere on the Aura Ring app.
It's literally right. It's like 2/3 the way down that page of readiness, and it literally says heart rate variability.
So can you hold on here? Can we go? Will you go get my ring? Sorry.
If you literally go right 2/3 the way down, it says heart rate variability, and same thing in Apple. If you open Apple Health, it'll be like deep into it, but it'll say heart rate variability, and it's been pulling for as long as you've had your Apple Watch. So I was sitting with somebody at dinner the other day, and they're like, heart rate, what? Like, what is it? I was like, heart rate variability. And he pulled open his Apple Watch, Apple Health data. He had almost 4 years of HRV data.
Wow.
That he had no idea on. And we had the best conversation. And all of a sudden, as I started to story tell off of that, and kind of, we see the seasons of his life, he's like, oh my gosh. Like, I did not realize that this is what was going on. This makes so much sense. Like, I get it. And literally overnight, he was able to change habits and behaviors because why? He understood. It's not that we don't want to. It's just that we don't understand. We're in a state of confusion. It's not that you don't want to operate at a better level. You do, because you know where you go, your goal is. You just don't know where you are.
Sure.
Justin,
go ahead.
No, do you think that state of confusion is also maybe put upon us?
By
100%.
That was a leading question.
I kind of figured that was there.
100%.
Because there's those that benefit from us being confused.
100%. I mean, you're exactly right. Guess who benefits from us being confused? All the government, the companies, the big institutions. That's why they want us to stay confused. I guess I'm just a sheep following along. I'll try to figure this out, and I'll try to get there. I'll try to go on and maneuver through this. But if we can shine light on what makes a difference, shine light on what's true, it opens us up. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so simple. It's so simple. Like, why have I not been doing this? That's a great question. And it's not your fault. It's because you've been in a state of confusion.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to get ready to head over to the member area, but I want to know, so anybody that's listening right now, they're like, okay, Justin, I hear all the things you're saying, and I'm drinking from a fire hose right now, right? What is something simple someone can do right now to improve their HRV?
I'll give two things extremely easy to do. Number one is it's called a 3-2-1 rule at night, because sleep has a major impact on this. And I touched on it a little bit. So stop eating 3 hours before bed, have a consistent sleep time. So let's go off of a 10 o'clock sleep time. So 3 hours before bed, you don't want to have any more major meals after 7 o'clock, because your food is still digesting. It's a major stressor on your body. You probably notice this when you eat late at night or a heavy meal, you don't sleep well.
Yeah.
So stop eating 3 hours before bed. 300 times more melatonin is produced in your gut than by your pineal gland in your brain. And so again, another reason why that's super important. Melatonin is key for getting into the deep states of sleep.
So if I've eaten and my body's digesting food, it's not creating melatonin. My gut's not creating melatonin. Is that what you're saying?
It's not going to release as much and as quickly. It's going to delay it. And so, which is why you're not going to get into those deep resting states until later in the night.
Okay.
And I don't want to get too sciencey here, but in the first half of your sleep is when HGH, testosterone secretions are also the highest. So if you miss those deep states of sleep, which is also why your testosterone, your HGH, and the deep recovery modalities that happen in that early states of sleep don't get hit. So chronically, we can see why that would be an issue.
Right.
Love.
Okay, so three
hours before bed. 3 hours before bed. No food. 2 hours before bed. Shut off all major work. No emails. No texting. No problem solving. Just let it go. Let it be done. So that's 8 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And then 1 hour before bed, engage in what I call a parasympathetic buffet, or your relaxing activities. And I say make a buffet of them. Why? Because not every night do I want to meditate. Not every night do I want to stretch. Not every night do I want to journal. And so make a list of things that you love. It could be journaling, meditation, stretching, breath work, watching a stupid show on TV, sex, going for a walk with your dog, enjoying a nice conversation with your spouse, yoga. It could be a hot bath, a hot tub, any of these things, but make a list. And at 9 o'clock, that's what you start engaging in, and then lay your head down on your pillow. And I guarantee you, you'll be out because you've prepared for sleep.
And so it's intentional, right? It's intentional. And we know these things.
Right.
We just know that to be able to do these things, you have to be intentional. It's not just magically going to happen. And there's not a magic pill. Well, there's lots of pills out there, but none of them are a magic pill that's going to have make lifelong changes to your body and to your health.
Right.
So, okay, well, I
love that.
Yes, so I want to take this over to, we're going to wrap up the podcast.
Yes, but before we do that, we head over to the members area and we say goodbye to the rest of you here. Justin, where can they, if they want to get to know you more, to learn more, where can they do that?
Super active on Instagram. So at Justin Roth, and it'll always be me that answers you. And then ownitcoaching.com is where you can find everything in much more detail.
Okay.
Perfect.
And we'll have that in the show notes as well.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we'll say goodbye for now to those that are listening and watching, and we'll say hello to our members over in the members area here.
Yeah. But thanks so much, Justin, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, I love that stuff.
I know, Justin's so great.
Yeah.
A complex topic that he can turn into simple too. And what I like too is kind of learning, like your aura ring, like we talked about. So we're going to have to reevaluate. But everybody out there has got some sort of device that they're listening, or not listening to, but a device that they're recording all the things. Even if you don't want it to, it's recording everything, right? So,
always watching.
Always watching. Yes. So great information from Justin.
Yeah, and I love that. It's getting that, this complex thing down to, a one number kind of thing, which makes it more easy for me to stay on top of.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
And to monitor. So, check it out. So love that.
Okay. Also, we've got a free date guide out there right now. It is called, what's it called? 5 Tips to a Fun and Sexy Date Night.
There we go.
There we go. Yes, so you can go out to our website, thecouplepreneurlife.com, enter in your name and email, and we'll get that over to you right away. And also, we do have bonus content that we shoot. It's kind of a behind the scenes, if you will, after each podcast, and that goes over to our subscriber area, which is over on Instagram. So if you want to join that, just go into our Instagram at the Couplepreneur Life, and you can subscribe and get all the extra bonus content.
Get to see behind the scenes.
Some live, other stuff, all kinds of fun stuff in our subscriber area.
So go do that and check that out. All right. Hey, but before we let you go, we want to remind you that you were purposefully and wonderfully created, and you were created to do great things together. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.